Without a doubt, Squid Game has made a huge comeback, closing out 2024 with intense violence, deadly games, and countless Easter eggs and hidden details. For instance, anyone who watched the first season knows that pink is the signature color of the uniforms worn by the workers who manage everything in the game, and that's exactly why the first episode of Season 2 is filled with references to the color pink, appearing in various moments, furniture, and even in objects found in restaurants. The first hint of this Easter egg is the name of the motel Gi-hun buys to use as his base of operations, Motel Pink. But that's not all. Inside Gi-hun's room, we can see that the bed sheets and the armchair are also pink, continuing the references to the uniforms of the game workers. Even when Gi-hun approaches the door during his dream with the frontman, still at the beginning of episode 1, we can see a pink object near the door when the protagonist crouches to pick up the game invitation card, still within his dream. But it's not just inside the building purchased by Gi-hun that we find pink Easter eggs in the first episode. When Detective Junho visits the fisherman's boat, the man who saved him from the sea, as he continues his mission to locate the game's island, we notice that the captain is wearing specialized fishing gloves. The palm of the gloves, completely pink. Seriously, what are the chances of a fisherman using pink gloves for work? I guarantee they're slim, unless it's an Easter egg. Even when Mr. Kim and his henchman and friend leave a restaurant where they've been staking out the game recruiter, if you pause the scene at just the right moment, you'll notice a black bowl with pink spatulas inside. Honestly, the reference is so striking that, at first glance, I thought it was one of the coffins from the first season, just in miniature. But when we revisited the scene, we realized they were just kitchen utensils deliberately colored to serve as yet another of this season's many Easter eggs. Let's not forget the bunny costume worn by No-Yul. It was entirely pink. Sure, it's a children's park, but as nothing in Squid Game happens by chance, we can safely say this was yet another nod in the overwhelming pink-themed Easter egg hunt of this second season of the wildly successful Korean series. And all these Easter eggs are just from the first few episodes of the 8 we've watched, just to bring you all these details in this video. Believe me, where these came from, there's a lot more. In fact, we've got 25 more amazing Easter eggs and details that will blow your mind right now. Still speaking of the beginning of the first episode, the more observant viewers immediately noticed a subway map of Seoul on the wall behind Gi-hun, hinting that he might be using it to track down the game recruiter. Just like in the first season, where some lines from the characters contained hidden hints and details, the same thing happens in the second season. For example, when detective, or rather, future ex-detective Junho tells the fisherman captain that he will no longer search for the island, the kind old man invites him to return later to help him fish for squid. This is a clear reference to the game that gives the series its original title, Squid Game. If you're also a fan of high-quality series like Squid Game, leave a comment below saying, "Series." When Gi-hun enters the white limousine, several small details can be noticed, both in the items inside the vehicle and in the conversation between the frontman and the protagonist of the series. The architect of these macabre games communicates with the winner of the latest game through a pig-shaped speaker, seemingly plated in gold. This is a clear reference to the pig that hangs above the players in the dormitory in both the first and second seasons, where the money to pay off the winner's debts is accumulated. Additionally, at a certain point we see the frontman referencing the movie The Matrix in his conversation with Gi-hun. He specifically mentions the moment where Neo is given the choice between the red pill and the blue pill, each symbolizing a different path. This is intriguing because the colors red and blue are constantly represented throughout the series. For example, they appear on the fishing boat Ji-hun uses, both before and after the island is discovered. Another example is the moment when Gi-hun is in the office of the agent who brings people from North Korea. Interestingly, these two colors are also present in the flags of both South Korea and North Korea. Continuing with references to iconic pop culture figures, even the more obvious details still work as Easter eggs. This is especially true with the new player, the rapper Thanos, who is a clear nod to the infamous villain from the Avengers saga in both movies and comics. The purple-dyed hair of the character makes the connection even more evident, as it matches the skin tone of Marvel's Thanos. To make this even clearer, one of the rapper's fans sings a snippet of his song, which includes lyrics about wiping out half of humanity.
Don't even need to snap, kill half the universe with a rap. Bam! The rap Battlegrounds finalist.
This mirrors Thanos' plan in the movies, to eradicate half of all life in the universe. In the comics, his motive was to impress his lover, Death. However, in the MCU saga, his genocidal intentions stemmed from a desire to prevent a supposed future collapse of life. If you've watched our video on references and Easter eggs from the first season of Squid Game, you'll know that the frontman is a huge fan of art. One of the most frequently referenced artists in his Twisted games is Van Gogh. After finishing this video, make sure to check out that one. It's equally fascinating. Click the card above. Interestingly, it seems the frontman isn't the only Van Gogh fan in the series. The immigration facilitation agent we met in the first season and see again in the second has a, likely fake copy of the Dutch artist painting sunflower fields in his office. His admiration doesn't stop there. The agent's office curtains feature embroidered sunflowers as well. showcasing just how much he adores the artist. This attention to detail reflects the director's commitment to layering the series with intricate elements. Similarly, in the window of the pink motel room where Ji-hun now lives, there is a painting of clouds. This serves as a nod to Magritte's painting, Blue Sky, an artist whose book was found in the frontman's home when his brother visited to search for him. And if you've made it this far in the video, we have a game for you. It's simple, subscribe to our channel so you don't miss our future videos. They're going to be amazing. Building on the topic of the frontman, when his brother, who we all assumed had died at the end of the first season, visits their mother's house, we catch a glimpse of a few photographs. Through these images, we discover that the frontman was once a police officer, just like his brother. However, due to some act of corruption, he was eventually dismissed from the force. Additionally, we learned that the frontman is also the adopted son of Ji-hoon's mother, the detective. This might not be intentional, but it takes us back to one of the most iconic roles played by Lee Byung-hun, at least for us action movie fans, where he portrayed the villain Storm Shadow in the G.I. Joe series. In that saga, both he and Snake Eyes were adopted sons of the dojo master who trained and raised them. Quite the coincidence, don't you think? Another fascinating detail in this series is how it highlights South Korea's local brands. For instance, nearly all the four-wheeled vehicles featured in the show are made by Hyundai, a brand that is 100% South Korean. We can notice this with the taxi Gi-hun takes as soon as he leaves the airport, which directly ties back to the ending of the first season. Additionally, the car Gi-hun drives when he's stopped by the police and receives a fine of 60,000 won is also from Hyundai, the Korean automotive giant. The same applies to the cars used by Mr. Kim and his henchmen. Another prominent brand clearly showcased, likely as part of a deliberate product placement deal by Netflix, is LG, South Korea's tech giant. This is visible in the air conditioner in the background of the scene where Gi-hun talks on the phone while heading to the station after Mr. Kim and his associate meet the recruiter for the games. Moving on to references related to the series title, which literally translates to Squid Game. There's a subtle nod in the park where no EU will works. When the little girl with leukemia is taken away by ambulance, there's a nearby stand with a sign featuring an orange squid drawing in a childlike style. This is yet another instance showing the director's obsession with incredible, small details. But of course, our sharp eyes miss nothing. When Gi-hun goes to the nightclub, the meeting point indicated by the recruiter who lost the Russian roulette game, we see one of Mr. Kim's former henchmen stop to buy a Halloween mask. Interestingly, he chooses a horse mask. This is a clear callback to Gi-hun's gambling addiction involving horse racing, as seen early in the first season. A little earlier, outside the nightclub entrance, we notice several people waiting in line wearing Halloween costumes. Some of them are dressed in pink, which certainly doesn't seem to be a coincidence. Inside the nightclub, when Gi-hun thinks he has spotted the frontman, who he assumes is someone in a Grim Reaper costume, he notices they are holding a scythe, a symbol of death. This was undoubtedly intentional, highlighting the connection to death, both for Gi-hun and especially for the frontman. Unfortunately, we couldn't include all the Easter eggs from the series, as we only managed to cover up to the 3rd episode. But if you'd like a part 2, just leave a comment below, and we'll gladly make it. Meanwhile, feel free to check out one of these 2 videos we've left for you on the screen.